Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Committee of the Whole meeting of October 26, 2021. Had a chance to look at the agenda. Is there anybody who has any additions to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, can I have somebody move to approve the agenda, please? Thank you. Councillor Digdon, seconded by Councillor Bourque. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Are there any conflicts of interest? Don't see any declarations of conflicts of interest, and knowing that you can declare conflict at any time on the agenda. Next, number 3, there are no presentations tonight. Number 4, we have the adoption of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes, Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. I suspect you've all had the chance to look at the minutes. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Surratt, seconded by Councillor Sonia. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Next, we have business arising from the minutes. So 5A, we have SHYFT House. At our previous meeting, Councillor Digdon had brought forward, he was asking if we could send a certificate of appreciation to SHYFT House, so that has been signed and delivered.
I personally delivered that this week. What are we? No, last week, the weekend, actually. And they were very appreciative of the fact that we were presenting a certificate to them. And so, anyway, it has been done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 5B, letter of support sent to the Town of Yarmouth for the off-highway vehicle project. So also at our last meeting, Councillor Digdon, you also asked for that letter of support as well, and that was sent as well. Okay. 5C, George's Bank Moratorium follow-up letter. So I'm assuming you've all had a chance to read that as well. So that is simply just, they received our letter, and it was a follow-up letter letting us know that they received our letter. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, let's move on. So we have number 6, financial statement for September 2021. We have an attachment of 16 pages, and we have Marsha, our Director of Finance, who is here, who will help guide us through this.
Right, thank you, everyone. So presented are the financials for the operating fund to September 30th, 2021, showing a surplus of $236,487. This is the end of the second quarter, we have included the full report. I will, however, concentrate on the first 3 pages, and if there's any additional questions or comments, I'll be happy to go over other ones if needed. To look at the revenues on page 1, you will see the main areas driving the surplus. The main one being the D-transfer tax, currently at $209,707. If we compare that to the prorated budget of $85,000, that's the middle column you'll see there, it gives us a surplus of $124,707 after only 6 months. Another large surplus is under the unconditional transfers from other governments, the provincial government. The bulk of this is the Municipal Financial Capacity Grant, formerly known as the Equalization Grant. The new provincial government doubled this grant as a platform commitment to the municipalities. Therefore, we'll be receiving over $300,000 opposed to the $154,000 originally anticipated and budgeted, which gives us a surplus there of over $77,000 after 6 months. Other things such as building permits, subdivision fees, and unsightly are also higher than anticipated at this time, showing a surplus of $13,865. So these 3 budget line items alone make up over $216,000 of our $236,000 surplus currently after 6 months. The remaining surplus can be found in the expenses that are shown on page 2. There's cost savings in general government services and things like employee benefits, which is due to the timing of employee departures and new ones beginning. There's also budgeted for conferences for staff and council, but due to COVID, these may not happen once again this year. The surplus showing under the environmental health services is mainly under the sewer section, and it's partly a timing issue. Either the project hasn't been completed thus far, or we also have a contingency placed in most of them in case of breakdowns. Under Environmental Development Services, you'll see the bulk of the surplus is in the Planning and Zoning section. We have budgeted for an MIP, which is the Municipal Innovation Tri-County Planning. However, no costs have been incurred thus yet. You will also see there, we do have a revenue section, and those lines are currently at zero. It's kind of like an in and out section of those ones. Recreation and Cultural Services is currently showing a fairly large surplus. Again, some items or events have been budgeted for, but either have not occurred thus far or is postponed due to COVID. Some like the senior events and stuff like that. So that's basically the high end of it. I will open the floor for questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. Any questions for Marcia? No, looks pretty straightforward. Thank you. So we will need a motion to approve this financial statement. To accept the financial statement. Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Surratt. Are there any questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Marcia. Okay. Next, number 7 for decision. So in 7A, we have Article C46, Accessibility Advisory Committee. So there's an attachment of 4 pages. This is a policy for the Accessibility Advisory Committee. So this basically applies to the people who are on this committee. If you've gone through the policy, it talks about basically the reason for this committee, and this committee is there to advise council in terms of accessibility and how to help us better plan for our plan, our accessibility plan. So if you've looked through, it talks about membership, it talks about their mandate, rules of engagement. Are there any questions on this policy? So we're looking to move this policy tonight.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Warden Muse. Are there any questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Next, we have 7B, Special Constables Designation, Mitch Colburn. So we have an attachment of a memo that is taking a while to upload. There we go. All right, so as I'm sure you've read, with the recent hiring of Mitch Colburn as Fire Inspector and Bylaw Enforcement Officer, we require a motion to do so, to make his role official. There is a suggested motion on the memo. Is there anybody willing to make that motion? Councillor Digdon?
I move that Mitch Colburn be designated as the Fire Inspector and Bylaw Enforcement Officer for the municipality and district of Argyle.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor D'Entremont. Any questions on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Moving right along. It's pretty quick tonight. I think so. Number 8, we have correspondence and for information. So we have in 8A, we have a letter from the Honourable John Lohr that is attached. And this was regarding the beautification and streetscaping program for Tourism Banner Project. And in the letter, you will see outlined that we have been awarded $10,000, $10,128 towards our project. Good thing. It's always nice to have money for those things. Then we have in 8B, there is a letter from the Joint Council Mariner Center. So the Mariner Center, this basically is, there was a time where we had shifted the responsibilities of the Mariners on Main, that we gave that responsibility to the Mariner Center Board. So they're in charge of kind of making sure that everything is done for us. And the idea behind that is once we get the Mariner Center expansion, once we get it, not if, but once we get it, they're building their programming, they're building membership right now so that they're able to take that and plunk it over into the Mariner Center expansion is what the hope is. So the board is kind of in charge of that day-to-day, the running of things. Did I miss anything on that, Warden?
No, I think that was it. It's spoken. It's basically that this was an agreement that we needed to agree with by the three, and This has been done for
A while.
a while, and the reason it's out now is I think it just got signed in the last few weeks or whatever.
This just
So,
made it official.
Yeah, just to make it official.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right, we will go to the next one. The next one is letter, so 8C, letter from Nova Scotia Public Works regarding Ecole Wedgeport. So this was good news too. We had a week of good news. So I'm sure you all read this as well, that if you look in the paragraph, and probably this is more for public than anything else, the Department of Education will maintain the ownership of the existing school property, and we will enter into a maintenance and operational agreement with the municipality of Argyle for the recreational facilities on the property, because a large portion of the property is required for continued educational purposes and operation of the new school. And what that means is that typically when a new school is built, the old school comes to us, and that's a liability after a while. Can be a big bill, so this will alleviate a big bill for us. So this was good news. Any questions or comments on that?
I just got a comment.
Yep.
Happy that Alain wrote the letter and the provincial government accepted it and are going to move forward to demolish the building. And really happy, and I'm sure the residents are going to be happy as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks.
Good. Councillor Sonia?
Yeah, in past conversation with Alain, and with the letter he wrote, and I told him, I said I'd be the first one to thank him, because I thought he wrote a really nice letter, and it's telling today that it did come to pass. And also, I think we should thank the people that supported us in that decision. I don't know all of them. I know that Colton LeBlanc was one of them. And so I think a letter of thanks would be appropriate in this case, because it is saving us a lot of money.
It is. So how does council feel about that? Sending a letter to Colton is to Minister LeBlanc? Is that what you'd like, Councillor Sonia?
Pardon me?
You would want us to send a letter of thanks to Minister LeBlanc? Okay. You gonna make that a motion? Okay. Okay. Any questions on that?
Just wanted to comment. You said you wanted to be the first one to thank, but you were the second one, Gordon.
Sorry. I went to Gordon first. You're supposed to keep me on track. All right, there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried. Thank you. And then number 8, Municipality of Argyle Net Zero Administration Building Grand Opening. So there is an invitation there, and I think it's been shared on Facebook. I've seen it on Facebook. So our grand opening will be Tuesday, November 16th. There will be guided tours of the building between 9 and 12 and 5:30 and 7:30. And in order to register, you can contact Kim at the municipality, and her information is there, and it will be and is on Facebook. And I think we should mention, you do have to be vaccinated in order to be able to come for this tour, right?
I was going to add to that, yes. So based on the provincial mandate, we do have to check for vaccinations for that event.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think that's important to mention.
Yes.
Okay, any questions or comments on that one?
None on that one, but.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor.
I guess just looking at the first one, the $10,128 to the project that was the West Side Improvement Society and the municipality that applied for it. Just wanted to congratulate and thank the West Pimlico, the West Side Improvement Society for all the work they've done. It's a really good group of doing some really good stuff in the community, and it's great to see that the provincial government's on board too. So.
Right, that they got something back for
Yep.
their efforts. Thank you. Yes.
Back to the grand opening. So the public has to be aware that they have to register. They just,
Yes.
even though it goes from 9 to 12, there's going to be half-hour sessions, and they're going to have to be registered to come, because we just don't want everybody to arrive here at the same time, so that they can be given a slot of when they will be given the tour. So people have to realize that, because it's a grand opening doesn't mean that it's a drop-in anytime they want, and that all due to COVID as
Right.
well, right? So we just don't want to have 100 people here at once, like in that way. So just to make sure that the public realizes that, because some probably won't know that, and then they will arrive because it is like that, so.
I think COVID has changed a lot of things, the way we do a lot of things. Yeah.
I guess I got another question about
Yes,
the
go
grand
ahead.
opening. Just so the actual ceremony grand opening is at what time?
Is it at 3?
Do we have the schedule?
Go ahead. Ruby.
It's at 3 PM for the elected officials.
Okay,
in the-
so it's
the
3
prom-
PM.
Yes, 3 PM. Yeah, that'll be the ribbon cutting
Yeah.
and a few other things. So we'll send you the invitation if you haven't already got it, that has the details for
Okay, great.
you folks.
It's usually that's when we start getting busy
Fishing.
doing fishing stuff. Just want to make sure I know exactly what time it is, so, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, we will move on. Financial, there are no financial requests. Number 10, are there any agenda topics for next meeting? Notice of motion by councillors? Councillor Surratt?
It's not a notice of motion, it's probably more of a comment on something that happened tonight. I'd like, first of all, for the people who are, this is being taped, I'd like to apologize to the Islands and District 1 Fire Department. Just to let you know that you were on the agenda, it was taken out of the agenda. I got home tonight at 5 o'clock, and here it's off the agenda. I'm pretty pissed off over the whole thing. I looked at my minutes, I saw I had been sent an email by Ailey at 11:47 about this. There was around 15 people who were going to be present from the Islands and District, presentation on trying to not a presentation, I was going to speak on the fire truck. They were looking for the $40,000 grant. This has put the kibosh on that. We have one chance to get this truck, and all of a sudden it got taken off. I just want to say that I'm the representative of their area. They have a lot of trust in me. I had done my due diligence, and just to let them know that I frantically called from 5 to 6 o'clock to let them know not to come. I'm quite displeased over this. I do understand their circumstances, that it's not the fault, Ailey, for sure, not yours, I understand. Our CAO is not here. There's no policy apparently, which I thought there was a policy. We did give Eelbrook $40,000. We did give East Kemp the $40,000. I guess Islands and District was coming here tonight for the same thing, but apparently there's no policy. Whatever happened to that, I don't know. I just want to say I'm sorry to the residents of my area. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think what happened was that item was a little bit of a late addition as well, because I know I've been kind of watching the agenda, and part of that is our policy isn't set in stone yet. So there were lots of questions around that, and because our CAO isn't here, we weren't confident that we would have all the answers that you would need, so we just didn't feel that we had enough information if you had those questions. It doesn't mean you can't bring it forward. That's not what we meant. It's just tonight, we just didn't feel like we had everything we needed, and we weren't certain, we didn't feel confident that we could answer all the questions, to be honest.
Yeah, I do understand that. I've seen at one time at a meeting here that somebody brought up to buy something at the Wedgeport playground, something we had bought, the playground stuff. It was brought at a meeting. We didn't have all the info. It was passed. I don't totally buy what you're saying, but I do understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to add that to the next agenda?
I'll have to discuss with Islands and District to see if that deal now is off.
Okay.
This is where I'm at.
Okay. Okay. Question period. Any questions? Nothing in the audience, okay? No in camera, so looks like we're ready to adjourn. Can we have a motion to move to adjourn? Thank you. Councillor Boudreau, do we have a seconder? Councillor Saulnier. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.